everybody. Charles Dobbins here, and welcome back to this week's Multifamily Investing Academy podcast. And I want to welcome you to it. We're going to have a lot of fun here today. I've got Athy Kennebrook as my guest. Now, Athy is the ultimate success story, until she hears mine, of course. She spent over 20 years in the banking industry. I want to hear about that one, too, because that's what my wife did the same thing before discovering the world of real estate. And after attending some real estate seminars, this 4'11" mother of rock solid man muscle, like my 6'2" of rock solid man muscle, really got excited. And before you know it, she'd bought and sold hundreds of properties using none of her own money or credit. Okay, we love these types of stories, but there's a rub. Not really a rub, but Athy currently holds a degree in finance and has co-authored books, The Venus Approach to Real Estate Investing, Walking with the Wise Real Estate Investor, and Walking with the Wise Entrepreneur, which also includes real estate experts Susie Ormond, Robert Kiyosaki, and Dr. Wayne Dyer. And of course, you notice she doesn't say Charles Dobbins, but that's in her next version. Now, here's the thing that we're going to talk to her about. She is one of the nation's leading experts on finding highly qualified and motivated sellers, buyers, and lenders using many types of direct mail marketing. She is known throughout the United States and Canada as the marketing magic lady. She has put together a simple step-by-step system that anyone can follow to duplicate her success. Okay, now let me give Athy a little bit of my background. Athy, when I teach my students, I tell them multifamily investing is all about sales and marketing. The most successful people in this business are those that understand sales and marketing. And then one of the segments that I teach in my seminars is how to find deals where no one else is looking. And at the very end, I give them a whole bunch of different options, all the way through. And I come down to the final option. And I say, this one method has worked every single time it's been tried. What do you think I tell them, Kath?
Multifamily.
This is not a tough question for you.
Okay, so you're in multifamily marketing, so I would be doing a multifamily direct mail campaign targeting the owners of multifamily properties.
Direct mail has worked every time it's been tried.
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay, now having said that, I just have to tell you that I had a conversation with one of my students this morning, all right? And I'm so glad you and I are talking right now, because this student, he lives on the other side of the globe, but he's looking to buy multifamily property in the western part of the United States. And I set him up on a direct mail campaign through a vendor that we use. Many of the people my students use. And I got to tell you something, Kath. The results have been really bad. And like, I understand, I know what the results should be. These are infinitesimally compared to the average results. And I want to really pick it apart with you to try to figure out exactly what it is. I have my suspicions, and I think that my suspicions are that we're talking about California and multifamily owners in California. And I don't know if that's the right answer, but he is not having success with his direct mail campaign. So let's talk about your step-by-step system, and then let's come back to my student and see if we can give him a few pointers.
Okay, because I've got several pointers for your students.
Okay, great.
There are probably several things that he is doing wrong that we could pinpoint pretty easily.
Cool. All right, so talk to me about your approach to direct mail, and especially in light of my audience, which are all real estate investors, but mostly focusing on multifamily investing.
Okay. So basically the way that I do it is no matter what the real estate investor wants to do, I have a direct mail campaign that is specifically targeted to specific types of sellers. Within the body of the letter are specific words and information and a response mechanism that that seller fills out so that when they get the response from the seller, it's already pre-screened for them. All of the direct mail marketing campaigns that I use are very specific and very targeted, and I think that's part of where your student is having a problem. So
Okay.
basically, if I was doing a letter headed specifically aiming at, for example, multifamily dwellings, then within that category, there are specific criteria that I'm going to use to hone that list even more to reach the most highly motivated sellers in that category. And I think that's part of your student's problem.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about what those categories would be. What specifically would you focus on with a multifamily owner?
Okay, so for example, with a
Hold
multifamily
on,
owner,
hold on. Before we get to that, let's back it up a step, and
okay,
let's talk about lists and the quality of the list and how you cultivate the list. And because what I teach my students is that the most important thing is you identify a market, focus
right.
on a market, and know what market you're working in. And once you do that, you have just closed your environment. You've just closed your universe. It is a finite number of potential sellers in that universe that we need to go after. So how do we go after that? What do we look for as far as the criteria in our lists, and where do you get the best lists?
Okay, so I have 12 different direct mail campaigns that I do. One of those is multifamily owners. Some of the others are vacant properties, military, out-of-state owners, pre-foreclosures, and there are 12 of them altogether. So no matter where you live in the country, you can hone in on what your specific demographic might be. So for example, I live in Florida. So my specific demographic is out-of-state owners, estate and probate, vacant properties, those types of things. So each demographic is very specific. Then within the letter, you just touched on it, the list. You have to work with really great list brokers, and those list brokers have to know what criteria specifically you want to use for that direct mail campaign. So basically, you're going to mail to oldest sale dates first. You're going to mail to the highest assessed. You're going to figure out the difference between the last sale and the assessed value so you can figure out the highest equity value within a specific list. So there's specific criteria that you're using. So you want sale date, sale amount, the address, the person's specific address where they are now, the site address of the property, so that you're getting as much information as you can from your list broker so that you can look at that list and hone it in more specifically on what you are exactly looking for. Now, the list brokers that I work with in multifamily will also take the list and split it out for you based on the number of units per building you're looking for. So we can take your list and make it even more honed in.
Okay. All right. So once we get that list, what's your recommendation for the frequency of mailing?
Each specific list is different. Multifamily owner, about 30 to 60 days, so
Okay.
definitely by the 45-day mark. The more you gently touch them with your message, the more credibility you build with that seller, and they're going to contact you first when they're ready to sell, even if they've been contacted by someone else in the interim, because you're taking the time to develop a relationship with that seller. So residual mailings are highly important to the success of whatever you're doing.
Yeah. Don't you love those guys that say, "Oh, I did direct mail, but it didn't work." Oh, really? Well, how many mailings did you do? One. Like,
Exactly.
oh, you're kidding me. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. So yeah, no, I hear that all the time, and it's a system. I mean,
Yes.
remember I said sales and marketing. As much as people think owning multifamily, it's all big money, and you're all driving around and flying in planes, your own planes. I meant like me. But what it boils down to is you're a salesman, just like that guy selling auto insurance or just like that guy selling life insurance, and they have to send that letter out every month, or they're not in business. They're not asking anyone to buy their product, and they're not in business. And that's why you have to
Exactly.
do direct mail every day. every week, every
I
month.
mean, think about it. Think about some of the big retailers out there. Think about some of the restaurants, and you're inundated with mail and email constantly from those folks.
Yeah.
Well, why do you think they're doing that? The
Yeah.
same reason that we are gently touching our seller with residual mailing, so they know that we're ready to help them when they're ready to change their situation and sell that property.
Exactly. It works every time it's been tried, and especially the Chinese restaurant. You throw a coupon in there or something, $10 off. That measures how successful the direct mail is, and that's why you keep getting it every single month because these guys are
Exactly.
buying. Yeah. Now tell me about your business. Marketing Magic Lady. Like, what exactly do you do for real estate investors?
Okay, so for real estate investors, basically what I do is I train. And so basically, folks will invest in my system, and then they have me for a year to back them up on whatever marketing questions that they have, whatever problems or difficulties that they have. I actually have a student in Washington, D.C., of all places, because that's a really difficult market, who was just named the Real Estate Investor of the Year for doing over $1 million in deals using nothing but the techniques he learned in my marketing system. So I'm so proud.
Are his initials HS by chance?
No.
Oh, darn it. Darn it. A former client of mine is doing incredibly well down there in Washington, and good guy, really good guy. Just wondering if it was him.
No, this is a military dad of 3 kids.
Oh, wow, cool. That's excellent.
Yeah,
that's
really,
so
really
cool.
awesome.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, and so basically what I provide them is, like I said, my system consists of 12 different direct mail campaigns, so they can pick and choose based on what their demographic is, and then also as their business grows and changes, because that will happen. I also deal with like luxury properties and things like that. So as I have gotten older, I've been investing in real estate for over 20-something years, and now we're doing fewer deals every month with much larger paychecks because I've turned more toward the luxury market because that's what I like. I also like urban commercial. So we do urban commercial and we do luxury properties. And that's primarily what I like here in Florida for my own business.
Okay, now tell me about, for those of you that are listening at home, Kathy's webpage is marketingmagiclady.com. She's got a bunch of events coming up all over the country. If you want to come see her speak, check out her schedule to see where she's going to be in your neck of the woods. And also tell me about your, the fact that how exactly does your program work as far as what they get from you? I know my students have direct access to me all the time whenever they need me. How does it work with you?
The same way. They have unlimited email access for 12 months to ask me any question that they want. They get all 12 of the direct mail campaigns. They are all broken out into specific chapters so they can pull that one section out. We teach them how to automate their systems and get it into somebody else's hands very quickly because the less time they spend doing like minutia kind of stuff, the more money they're going to make. So that's one of the things that we've also done.
Okay. Now, you also do it with Spanish speaking.
I do.
Yeah. Hold on. I just want to check the audio here. So I'm getting a little bit of a feedback. Let me see.
That should be better.
Oh, you got it? Okay, good.
Yep,
Good.
I got it on my end.
Okay, good.
All right. So, sorry.
So no, totally fine. So you've got a Spanish speaking as well.
I do. I am the only person in the country who has done it. Long process, very difficult. We used various interpretation companies so that we addressed all of the dialect differences in the Spanish language. So the Spanish system has all of the direct mail campaigns, and there are 24 other marketing techniques and samples of all of them. So we covered signage and apparel and business cards and all flyers, all of that stuff, and then had it converted to Spanish. So my suggestion to my folks is send that letter out, English on one side, Spanish on the other. And then we send those responses because I don't speak a single word of Spanish. And this is for the folks, whether they speak Spanish or not. We send them to a translator, a bilingual answering service. You use whatever telephone script. You can use my telephone script. They will ask the questions of the Spanish seller, translate them into English, and send them back to you daily. Once you go through those, you use an interpreter, you put the deal together with the Spanish-speaking seller, and then close it. Nobody in the country is doing it because they don't know how.
That's great. I'm very fluent in Spanish. Yeah. Hornitos, margarita.
Yeah.
On the rocks.
Taco, yeah.
Taco, fish taco. Yeah.
Enchilada.
Exactly. Chimichanga. Yeah. That's great.
About it.
That's fantastic. Because I tell you, I had I have a podcast coming up with with one of the top Spanish speaking realtors in Connecticut. And I'm gonna see what he does for direct mail and see how that works for him. So
awesome.
Yeah, very cool. All right, Kathy, any other tips you can give us here today?
Well, primarily, you need to check your demographic. Figure out what it is that works well in your particular market. Figure out what everybody else isn't doing and do that.
Yeah, exactly.
When you are implementing direct mail, get it into someone else's hands very quickly. Make sure that you're using a quality list.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. What exactly do you mean by that? You mean outsource the
outsource
service?
It.
Okay.
Yes, and I give them a variety of ways to outsource, whether they want to start doing it themselves at home because they're a very beginner investor, whether they want to hire it out locally, so it could be a stay-at-home mom, high school student, college student, whatever. And then I have companies that will do all the mailings for them. So they can do it at whatever level their comfort level is.
Okay.
Or grow into it.
Okay, so that was one of my questions is, you've got the service that teaches you how to do it the right way and implement it correctly. I was wondering if you also are the one that provide the services as far as out in the back shop, so to speak.
Well, I provide them with the resources to do all the work for them. And of course, since these companies have worked with me and worked with my students all over the country, they know exactly what they want and what they need. So it's very, very easy. All my student has to do is provide them with the letter and the list, and they do everything else.
Excellent. That's fantastic. Kath, I'm a believer. It's worked for me every single time. My students get great results when they do it on a systematic basis.
Correct.
And that's the key. That is so crucial. Don't come to me after 2 rounds of sending direct mail out and say, "Oh, it's not working." No, but let me ask you this. Go ahead. You were going to say something?
The other part of the equation that's really important, that's something that I do differently than every other guru on the planet, and honestly, I don't know why. I put a response mechanism in the body of my letter. Folks, if you don't tell your seller what you want them to do, they're not going to do anything at all. So basically, I tell the seller exactly what information I need from them in order to determine whether there's a deal to be made or not. So when I get the response from the seller, I get all that information. I get photographs of the properties, the whole nine. So the deal's pre-screened when it hits my desk. Okay. And for those of the folks of yours who are beginner investors, if the deal's already pre-screened and they've got almost all the information they need to determine if there's a deal there, it takes so many obstacles out of the equation.
Yeah. Okay. That is a phenomenal point. And let me talk about multifamily, because one of the things that we get, and I'm sure some of your students get the same response, is they'll get a phone call from a potential seller. And the guy who says, "Hey, I got your letter. You want to buy my property? How much?" And that's all he tells you. Doesn't even tell you where the property is located. Right. He says, "How much?" And he said, "Well, I'm going to need some more information. Can you tell me this? Hey, you sent me the letter. You said you want to buy it. How much you want to pay me?" And okay, we're going to play this game. And let me tell you something. It happens all the time. And all you should have to do is put in the letter, say, "I would like to get more information about your property so I can give you a valid offer, but I can calculate a value if you just tell me the address and the number of units and the types of units." And that's all you need. And right. If the guy calls you up and says, I got 10 2-bedrooms and 3 1-bedrooms. Great. What's the address? Super. I'll put together an offer for you. And from that, just that basic information, you can calculate out a rough offer and say contingent upon additional information, but you can figure out what the rent would be. You can assume an expense ratio. You can figure out what the NOI is going to be. And then you know the cap rate because you're an investor in that marketplace. You get a value. That's all you need. All you need is the number of units and the unit types and the address, and that's it. And that's a great point that we put that information in the direct mail piece. That's fantastic. So,
now I actually asked them for a little bit more than that, but that's certainly part of it. But I want them to have all and the more information they get from the seller, the more motivated that seller really is, and it starts weeding out the garbage.
Yeah, and there's a lot of garbage. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. Do you ever do anything with direct mail response cards or anything like that? Do you like those or?
With postcards?
No, with another insert in the letter, a pre-postage page response cards, so they fill out their name and address on the card. I
do. If it's a property or a group of properties that I'm really, really interested in owning.
Oh, interesting.
So if there's something out there that I've seen or that I've looked at or that's on a specific list, then yes, I will do that. Because it's a property that I'm really interested in owning.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. One more question that I have is, talk to me about how you use a CRM tool.
Okay. So basically with these, everything that we do is outsourced.
Okay.
Everything in my business is outsourced, and everything in my business is outsourced locally. I don't use any of the overseas. I don't like phone rooms. I don't like any of that. So
you're a xenophobe is what you're saying, Kathy, right?
I am. And I'm all about keeping jobs in the United States. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's funny.
We also have I also have, and I've got information about this in my system, but I also have a software system that we use that follows up everything for us, that throws reminders on my computer in the morning. Hey, you need to do number 2 mailing of this one. Hey, you need to follow up with Mr. Smith, whatever that is. And all of that is in that software as well.
Interesting. Okay, so that's all provided as part of your program.
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool. That's exactly what you need. Cool. Oh, Kathy, great stuff. How do people get a hold of you? What's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Okay, a couple different ways. They can go to the website at www.marketingmagiclady.com, or they can call our office directly at 941-792-5390, or they can email me at kpaddler. This is my personal email.
No, don't worry. I have no stalkers in my group.
Okay,
we wean them out. They've already been arrested. So,
okay.
Yes.
kpaddler@att.net. So like kayak paddler, except that was taken. So kpaddler@att.net.
Oh, somebody took that, huh? Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
How many people?
So I got kpaddler.
Kpaddler at
att.net. Yep.
.net. Excellent. Cool. Kathy, thank you so much. I'm going to have everybody contact you regarding direct mail, because it's what they need is someone to tell them exactly what to do and the right way to do it. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, good talking with you. All right. Thanks, Kath. Thanks for being a guest on our show.
Thank you. And thank you for everyone who's listening out there. And I'm looking forward to working with you.
Cool.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.